Hi everyone, Ryan here, Ion Capital Solutions. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for tuning in. Today I'm here with a new student of ours, Jessica Jones. Jessica, thank you so much for being with us today.
You're welcome.
Terrific. We just wanted to have a conversation, Jessica and I, about her experience so far. For all of you watching, be able to hear the experience from one of our students in her own words, how it's been for her. So, Jessica, thank you very much for taking the time to do this. I really appreciate it. I'm excited to get your feedback and for you to share. So, please, I guess a great place to start, Jessica, would be what was your experience coming into this?
I have had a very positive experience coming into this because a lot of the things that I had done before previously trying to work in this industry, I flat out had not been successful at it. From learning the business and finding people who were open to um, giving good information about how to work the business to getting good leads. I wasted money on leads, to just having a community to be a part of. I didn't have any of those things. So, right off the bat, all of those things were a part of the package when I joined Ion. So right away, I had a positive experience. Just right at first foot in the door.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that. And so you're really describing the experience of many of our new prospective students before they join us. I was buying leads, it's expensive, it's not really working out. I'm kind of alone trying to figure this thing out, and I don't have a community to surround myself with. And so those are two big pain points I know. It's refreshing, right, to just be like, okay, I'm not alone in this. There are people who
Mhm.
have overcome these hurdles and now they can show me the way. I can stop spending money on leads. I mean, I think let's home in on that for a second, right?
Right.
Up to before you had joined Ion, what were you were buying leads and cold calling? Were you running ads? What exactly were you doing?
I was actually buying leads. I did live transfer leads.
Those are
I did,
expensive.
yeah, I did those. And I talked to some really great people. The problem was I did it right as we unknowingly knew that the pandemic was going to hit.
Right.
So that the timing was just awful.
Right.
Um, and so out of those leads, I did get somebody, but unfortunately, they were in an industry that wasn't getting funded at the time.
Right.
So that was just a wash. Then the other thing you find out with live transfer leads is those people are still tire kickers. They say yes to who's ever's called them, but they're not really looking for funding right there in that moment. So that was a hard learned, costly lesson as well.
Right.
So that was a difficult thing. Then I did the buying the batches of leads.
Age leads,
Um,
right? 30,
so
60, 90 days
did
old.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I also got did leads where people lie to you about the age of the leads. So the
Yeah.
leads are supposed to be 3 months old, but they're 3 years old. No
Right.
lie, I have those leads. Then I tried buying business lists to cold call. Then the databases. I've done, if it's
Everything.
leads, I've tried all of those things.
Yeah.
So that's the difficult part of that. I have tried that, and it's a lot of money down the drain and unsuccessful at its
Absolutely.
best.
Yeah. Yeah. I could not agree with you more. I mean, my experience, so I worked in the corporate space, and so I know what it is to feed a calling center of people data. And I think there's this big misconception out there in the marketplace that buying leads means they're leads. They're not leads, it's just data. And no
It's just
matter what company you buy them for, if they say they're full packages or it's a live transfer, it's just data. Why? Because the lead gen company doesn't know how to qualify a lead. Therefore, it's not a qualified lead. It's just
right.
data. And we as loan brokers need to sift through that data and find our qualified leads. We need to wring out that damp cloth for every drop it's worth. That's just the game. And really, in my opinion, for anybody out there buying leads, the best kind of lead to buy is that super aged old leads that don't cost you a lot of money, because somewhere in there is a diamond in a rough that you can fund. But the problem is there's so many that you won't fund that by the time you get to the one that you will fund, you've wasted so much time and money buying that data. The live transfers where they want $20 to $40 a lead, or the full package leads, they're not qualifying those people. They're pestering them, and they're selling those leads to a bunch of other people. It's a mess. So I can appreciate your experience. And what's so great about Ion here is that we've figured out how to generate leads online for free. You're not buying data, you're not cold calling, you're not advertising, you're online having warm connections and conversations with people. In fact, isn't that exactly how we met you, Jessica? Isn't that how you joined our program?
Yeah.
We connected with you
That is
online.
how we met. That is, yeah. And then we started talking on Facebook. So yeah, that is how we met. I didn't fill out a form that I remember, or I just remember a conversation.
Yep.
And I believe I probably was the one to make first contact. I think that's how I remember it. I believe I found you all.
Oh, okay.
So
Usually we'll reach out to you. It's either one of our virtual assistants, one of our front end salespeople, whatever. Will be on social media. They'll friend request you, or whatever it may be, connect with you, have a message. We know that you're interested. We know that we're not serving you ads. We're not doing those things, but we do have a footprint online. So without upfront cost, we're still finding a way to communicate and connect with you.
yeah.
And it's the same methodology that we use for finding interested parties for loans. We're not paying for leads. We're not paying for advertising. And yet we're finding plenty of people online. And it's through warm connections online. Us reaching out to you, you reaching out to us. It's all about a specific workflow. And it's an organic conversation. It's not a solicitation. Right?
Right.
And that's
Exactly.
everything, right? If a business wants to talk to you about funding, or an investor wants to fund a project, it's a conversation. It's not a, I can fund your deals and blah 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 blah, and here's my price and it's lower than everybody else's, and that
Right.
nobody wants to have that conversation. Nobody wants, I'm cold calling, please don't hang up the phone on me. Nobody wants to be bothered like that. So
No, they don't.
yeah.
They don't.
Especially at nowadays, where they've been called 100 times a day, a week, by solicitors, all trying to say the same thing. It's too much. So
It is.
for you, since you joined Ion and you see our approach of marketing, the products we're offering, the way that we handle client consultation, and of course your mentor, Christopher, right? How has that experience been? What is your perception of what it is we're doing, and your thoughts on it, right? Your critique, and as well as your experience with Christopher so far.
Well, I like the fact that I have somebody to go to. I had an experience in the past where you think you have someone to go to. There was a company that I was with, and when I had questions, they actually got annoyed when you reach out. So here, because you know who you're supposed to reach out to from the beginning, that's all a part of the welcome email that you get in the very beginning, so that there's no question about who you're reaching out to, and that you're supposed to reach out to this person when you have questions. So that part is very clear. And I like that, because when I went through this before, I actually was treated like a nuisance. And it's important to have somebody to talk to, because different questions come up with different businesses that you talk to. And you need to have somebody to talk to when you're running a deal through. And so that to me is also very important, especially since we're all working virtually anyway. And in this business, most of us were doing it virtually anyway before the pandemic. So that is very significant. So anybody coming aboard, they can just rest assured that right there off the bat in that first email, they're going to know who they're going to be able to work with, and that it's okay to call that person, and that you're actually, it's desired for you to call that person in order to work with you to get that deal through so that you can even understand the possibilities of how the deals are going to be structured, and so that you can actually see the deal being worked as it
Right.
goes through underwriting. So that's important. When I had deals go through, I didn't know anything about why the business was approved for the amounts that they were approved for.
Right.
I wasn't on the call that explained to the merchant why they got the amount of money they got. So I didn't hear the merchant respond, or the negotiating back and forth between the merchant and the broker. None of that was anything I was included for. Most people are, if you get on with a company, you're just kept as that marketer
Right.
that goes out, finds the lead. You don't know anything about the back office and the mechanisms that got you to, get a deal funded in the first place. And with Ion, that's not the case. You're going to know why this company even qualified for a deal, and then you're going to know why a business owner got the amount, and why they did or didn't accept the offer that was put forth to them. So all
Absolutely.
of that's
Thank you.
important.
Thank you. I couldn't agree more. When we first designed this program, that was one of the first things we realized when we took a look at what our competitors are doing and what they're offering. And a huge complaint was that there's no support. And any program you go to, there's no support, or they try and upsell you. They try and make you spend more money to get the support. And it's limited, right? You can talk to that person once a week, once a month, whatever it is. And when it's time to actually examine the file and the deal, it's a we'll let you know. And then you're just kind of like, what's going on? I thought this was my deal. And then even if the deal magically funds, you don't know how it funded. You don't know how the pieces went together. And so how can you
Yeah.
improve at this, or how could you do this on your own one day? It's because those programs are designed to have you be dependent on them forever. Here at Ion,
Yes.
we're pulling the curtains back. We're showing you all of it and how it all works, so that one day you don't need anyone. You can do this on your own, and it's just a more realistic, transparent journey, right? And so thank you for that feedback, because that's yet another pain point that we see that many of our students and prospective students will bring up in discovery calls is these things
Mm-hmm.
and these objections they want to know. And what's great here is you have that dedicated person to help you with your deals, but you also have live master classes here. You have a support team for after hours as well that you can reach out to. I own the business. People sometimes fear that they'll never talk to me again after the initial call, and yet you and I are still in regular dialogue. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. That's not true. You do get to talk to you. And that's the amazing part. It
Yeah,
wasn't just the call when we talked about the me joining initially. There were actually a couple calls, and then yes, we have been in regular contact. So
right.
yeah, that's definitely the truth, that you do stay on board with people as they join, and you are very accessible. So yeah,
Which I
that's the
think
truth.
is very important. I think one of the things in just any coaching program online, when you first join, you usually talk to a front end salesperson, right? Which is okay. I mean, when you scale a business, you're going to have to talk to a salesperson, but that's your contact. That's the person you know. That's the person that
Right.
sold you, right?
Mhm.
So when
Mhm.
you're in, and then something doesn't quite go right, or you're confused and that person disappears, you're like, oh my god. Because in sales we don't buy products, we buy people. That's what we buy. And so you want to know that that person, that relationship that you found, is still available and still there. And that's a big part of loan brokering. When you're if you just talk to a client and they want funding, and you just forward them to the lender and sit back and wait for the deal to fund and the commission to come in, the client's left wondering, what the heck happened to the broker I was speaking to? Now I'm just talking to the
Exactly.
lender. You can't do it
Yeah.
that way. It's got to
Yeah.
be a relationship. And so I believe that it starts with me at the top. I've got to be involved in the day to day. Even people that join our program and don't talk to me get to know me right away, and I do the best that I can, because it's just important. people want to know who they're doing business with. And sometimes you can see other programs and you see a guru on a stage in a three-piece suit or whatever, standing in front of a Ferrari or whatever it might be, right? More often than not, it's a rented Ferrari in front of an Airbnb, right? But you never actually talk to that person, right? And so you're
Yeah.
like, well, I
That's,
signed up for this person. I never even spoke to him. And I just don't think that
mhm.
that's right. And usually that person is not what they're projecting at all, right? It's quite the
Ex-
opposite.
Yep.
So,
That's
yeah,
true.
yeah. So,
Hmm.
thank you for that feedback. I appreciate that. So, Jessica, you've been with us now, what, a couple of months, 60 days, something like
Um,
that.
not quite 60. About 2 weeks. About a 6 weeks. Yeah.
6 weeks.
Yeah.
And so now
Hmm.
your marketing funnel is up and running. You're talking to clients. You're working with Christopher. We've yet to get your first deal funded, but we got some
Yeah. Yeah.
prospects.
Yes, we do have prospects.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Mm.
And that's a big part of the journey. A big question that I get, Jessica, is when's my first deal going to fund? When I talk to
Mhm.
people on the phone, how long? And it's such a loaded question because if it's a merchant cash advance, we could fund them in the same week. If it's a large commercial or portfolio real estate deal, it could take 120 days, but be a massive five-figure commission. It's different for
Right.
everybody. But the truth is, you're going to fund a deal when you're ready to fund a deal, when you have a proper marketing structure, where you have a full funnel, where you understand your products, and you're properly qualifying your clients so that you have a
Mhm.
quality, interested prospect ready to get funded with a quality product that works for them so that they can get funded. And that's a good relationship because not only did you fund them now, you're going to fund them again and again and again because you handled it right. And then that's one
Right.
client, two clients, three clients, four clients. And that's where the consistency comes from. Not just
Exactly.
trying to chase down some business, give them a quick loan, and then go find somebody else. And there's no repeat business in that. You're just forever on a
Right.
hamster wheel, you know? And
Exactly.
so, sure.
And that's what's important to me, is that relationship building, because when you do that, then that's also where the referral business comes from as well.
Sure.
And that's important, because the likelihood that, a business owner is going to tell another business owner that they know, that they're looking for money, that's a greater likelihood. They're not going to scream it out maybe at a chamber of commerce meeting, but if they're cool with their neighboring business, they may tell that person that information. And
Right.
if that's somebody you work with, then they can pass your name along. And that's only going to happen from having a relationship with them.
Right. Right.
And so that's the biggest thing that's important. Also, what I like about Ion is, because I'm not working for one of these companies that you find on Craigslist or something like that, which is proliferated with those types of companies.
Right.
I'm getting to work at my own pace, and I'm getting to learn too at my own pace. And so as I learn a piece, then I can add a piece in. So that's pretty much the process that I'm taking because of what my situation is. And so that's been fun too. So I learned some and then I added in, so that's the great part. I'm like, okay, I don't have to rush and try to know everything because I don't, but I know I have this whole body of information. There's videos, there are Google Sheets and documents and things that I can use, and I'm actually taking the information and building upon it as I learn, and then trying to grow my way into the business so that I'm actually building a solid foundation. So that's what's also important. So I like that. I'm actually building a relationship internally with Ion and learning the material and learning how to build the business, but then that'll also help me build that outwards as I start building relationships in
Right.
the real estate community as well. And
Sure.
so that's been good. I've, joined some groups and on social media, and also been following some people in real estate and actually building relationships that way too. So it's been a real positive experience that way.
Thank you, thank you. I appreciate that, and I just want to back up a little bit because I think you said a couple things that were very important there. And beginning with pacing, there are people that come into this thing and are like all about it. They just go full all in. There's other people who
Mhm.
come in very, very slow. And then there's the in between. And the reality is everybody's got their own day-to-day routine, right? Everybody's got their own personal lives, professional lives. And so you've got to be able to go at your own pace, whatever that may be. And usually our competitors will offer a pricing structure that features upsells and limited time. And that's not something we do here. We never try and upsell you, and we're not going to give you limited time. It's a lifetime membership. So it allows you to take it at your own pace. And the
Right.
commitment, the time commitment, do you feel overwhelmed with time commitment, or are you able to just do it as you feel, as you
I
go?
love that part of it because when I'm ready to, and I have the time, and I'm ready to, I can sit and I can just focus on Ion and learning. And then, like I said, put the building blocks together. So, one of the things on my to do list was to take my URL and point it to my Ion link. And so that was a project that I wanted to do. And so I was thinking about doing it and wanted to make sure I'd reach out to you to say, okay, is this something that's okay to do? First and foremost, just wanted to be sure. So I did that. I asked you about that. You were like, oh, yeah, this is fine. Lots of people do it. It's explained to them that it's standard in the industry that you're a broker and you have your business name. But a lot of brokers are associated with a larger group and that you just have your own brand name and then it points to the larger site. So I
Right.
was like, great.
Yeah.
So then I went when I had the time after and later on in that evening, and I went to my site with the back office, did all that. And now my URL points to Ion. So I like that because I asked you. Then when I had the time, I went and did it. It didn't take that night. But the next day I got up and I looked and it pointed to the Ion site. So that was great. So there are just these little things for me that I'm doing to get things into place. Then I went and I set up my business Facebook page and put some of the Ion banners on that page. I clicked through the marketing information. So for me, no, I don't feel like that. If I start to feel a little anxious, then I remind myself, no, you're okay. Because this is, like you just said, it's a lifetime membership. There's no worrying about getting it done by such and such a date. I can just build on these pieces. And then at the same time, I'm working on building up my marketing piece as well. So that's how it's going for me. And no, I don't feel super stressed or worried about beating some type of deadline. So that's what I like. And then for myself, I'm like, okay, I got the websites ready. I have the Facebook business page ready. And so these are things that are important to me to have into place just so that as my marketing goes out, somebody's looking, then these are things that they'll see. So that's important too.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely,
mhm.
absolutely. Thank you for that. Absolutely, it's true because it, sometimes in order to absorb information and be able to be effective in the marketplace, we need to structure things our own custom way, and we need to follow our own pacing. And if we get rushed into things, or if we try to do things in an unorthodox way, you can't skip the process in life, right? We can't jump to the end result. We know that all our kids, right, want to just immediately jump to the end result, and that's just not the way the world works, We know that
Right.
as adults, it's like no, you've got to get yourself set up. And I remember I had this one guy who joined our program. I think it was his second day. He landed a $7 million commercial deal, massive, massive deal, and it helped him as much as or it hurt him as much as it helped him, because it was like at that point he was like, oh, this is easy, I'm just going to sit back and then somebody's going to want millions of dollars and then I'm just going to get a commission. And he had no clue what he was doing. He had no idea what the product was. He just stepped in it, so to speak, right? And I explained to him, like, listen, you still need to learn the business. Yes, that can happen. Yes, you can come in and once in a while it happens, you meet a whale and bang, huge commission. But you don't
Mhm.
want one, you want consistent
Many.
people like that, and you
Yes.
want repeat business, and
On a
you've
regular basis.
got to establish yourself. You're not always going to get lucky. You can't, you know what I mean, kind of thing. You can walk into
Mhm.
7-Eleven and get a scratch off ticket and hit it big, but is it going to happen twice? Be realistic, you know. So anyway, you're taking the right steps. You have a great mentality about it all, and you're clearly motivated and organized, and that's going to pay off because you've gone through the steps, you've laid a proper foundation, and that's what's going to get you the results. You're not skipping the process, you're not trying to jump to the end result. You're making use of our community and your mentor and all of these things, and that's going to build that foundation, ultimately get you those results you're looking for. So we're going
Yeah.
to check back with you in the future and see how you're doing and see how things are going along. But Jessica, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to do this with me. I really appreciate it. You're probably sick to death of my voice now after listening through all the trainings and talking to me, and but thank you so much, Jessica. Appreciate it. I want to ask you one last question, and that is, in your own words, a tagline, right? Drop a line for the program. Do you recommend ION? What would you say to somebody who's on the fence about joining?
I would say don't hesitate. If you're really trying to learn the business and you've tried everything else, then I would stop here. Um, it's very transparent. Ryan is very upfront about everything. He's honest. They are supportive. They don't take us joining for granted. And if you want to be a part of a community that cares and wants to see everybody succeed, then you would go ahead and stop here and plant your feet and learn and grow and earn some money. Good money, actually. So
Wonderful.
I'm looking forward to great things.
Thank you so
So,
much, Jessica. I really appreciate it. Everybody watching at home, thank you so much for tuning in. If you're interested in the content, you're interested in our program, definitely like the video, please. It helps out the channel. Subscribe, click that notification bell so you can stay up to date on all the new video content we release. We do release content daily. We have a free Facebook group, our website, ioncapitalsolutions.com. A lot of great information at your fingertips and for free, okay? So with that being said, thank you all so much. Again, Jessica, thank you so much. We'll catch you in the next video.